maybe the version of success you're chasing isn't actually the version of success for you. Maybe you've been going about somebody else's path. Is it really the path you want in this life?
Good question. I think we've all kind of been there at some point in life where you're just following this default path rather than really thinking about, what do I want?
Maybe it's the path mommy gave you, daddy gave you, grandma gave you. Maybe it's the path you saw on a TV show that you were like, oh, I want to do that. That looks cool. But have you really sat and thought about the type of life you want to live?
So I know I definitely was just following a path that I thought I was supposed to follow. So I went to college at Ohio State. I was just determined to graduate in exactly 4 years because just God forbid I take more time. And so I had this whole timeline of what my life was probably gonna look like or what it had to look like. And it created so much anxiety in me, just that pressure that I was putting on myself to have things be a certain way. And so I remember thinking, okay, I'm gonna graduate in this year, and then at this age, I'm gonna get married, and then at this age, I'm gonna have kids, and then, so I moved to Texas. My first job was in Dallas after college. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this for a year, and then I'm gonna be able to buy a house, and I'm gonna do this. And I just had this whole timeline, and that timeline was really messing me up.
Yeah.
It created this pressure. And I just remember, like, in that first corporate job, being so unhappy and deciding, okay, I have to do something different because I hate it here. I hate this life, this like box that I've created. I got what I thought I wanted, but it's actually not what I wanted at all.
Yeah. And see, I kind of remember like growing up, I come from a family of engineers. So everybody is, pretty smart. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be an engineer. I even went to the same college that my grandmother and grandfather went to. I got to college, I was hanging around with the engineers. I was doing computer science and marketing. And I was like, man, no offense to the engineers I went to school with, because some of y'all are great. I was like, man, these people are like really dumb. And it sounds really bad.
That sounds terrible.
It sounds terrible, but it's like, it wasn't like, when I thought of like engineer, I thought of like Leonardo da Vinci, Nikola Tesla, all these people, and it probably isn't necessarily the people, it's how they're using engineers nowadays. I don't know if they're really inventing anything that's like world changing. It's like modern engineers are inventing new ways to put ads into your Netflix. And you're just like, ooh, Jesus Christ. And so I really wanted to create cars when I was a kid. Really wanted to be an industrial designer as a kid. Going to all the international auto shows with my dad, I got to see all these really cool cars. And I wondered, could my parents even afford to send me to college somewhere out of Texas for industrial designers? And I really never even looked at it. I stopped kind of thinking about it, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go to Prairie View I kind of started in engineering, and then I went the computer science and marketing route. And then now I'm kind of going back into the computer science and marketing route with AI and machine learning. But my turning point was kind of when I started. I was like, man, all these cool cars I love. I've always been drawn to Porsches. And so when I actually looked up the price of a Porsche, I was like, oh, okay. What kind of money do I need to make to own a Porsche? And then you do the math, you're like, oh, all right, well, I got to change careers. So I kind of got into entrepreneurship. And this is when I started the appliance repair company, and I was doing really well, but I was like, man, let me switch it up because I want to sell higher ticket items. That way it gets me to my Porsche faster. And so I'm now in artificial intelligence and automation, and that's how we ended up here.
Mm-hmm. And so you had, we both had a turning point where you realized, okay, I thought this is the path for me, but this is actually not what I want. This is something that I was kind of guided into. And our parents, our families have the best intentions for us, and so it wasn't a malicious thing, but sometimes we don't even sit down to think about what do I want? I mean, I don't think they teach high school students to even really think about these things. Maybe something has changed now, but back in 2002 when we graduated, that wasn't a thing.
No.
Like, sit down and think about what you want
No.
out of your life or how you envision your life to be. Like, that wasn't a thing. So, yeah, I just knew that wasn't the path. But even more recently, so we've both been on this whole entrepreneurship path. And, you know, now we're deciding to go down this whole part-time expat path.
Yep.
So was there like a turning point that made you decide you wanted to go down that route?
So the part-time expat path was probably started when I was a child. And so also, the seed was planted, let's say. So we would go to the Bahamas fairly often, maybe once or twice a year, because my godparents were Bahamian. So just kind of being in the island, playing in the ocean, picking up the giant conch shells, it was the music, it was a whole different vibe. And then you would kind of get back to America and it would be like, oh, well, you hear people say, oh, back to normal life. And I kind of wondered as a kid, I was like, oh, well, you know, how hard is it to live this? And then you kind of put those thoughts away. Then fast forward to adulthood, you go on your first long trip. My first long trip was when I went to Japan for the Tim Ferriss $50 a day joint. And I was like, I can make this work. Absolutely. What about you?
Well, like I keep saying, I didn't even start traveling until 31. But once I started traveling, I'm like, oh my gosh, life outside America is so different. I'm enjoying myself so much. Maybe I should move to this place, you know, whatever country I'm in. But it was that first solo trip to Bali that really made me think, okay, how can I make this my reality? And so I did the whole digital nomad, full-time digital nomad for 2 years. And then it wasn't until COVID that I came back to the States, and I went back to Los Angeles, which is where I had lived before. And so it was really fear that brought me back to the U.S. in the first place, because I had no intentions of coming back, because I loved my life outside the U.S., but the whole thing of the world shutting down made me come back. But during that time, I realized there was a reason why I needed to be back, because I had those extra 2 years with my mom. So I am grateful for that. But I think since then, you know, I've had this itch to have this expat life experience. And yeah, and now, you know, I met you abroad, and then we came back to Houston because I wanted some roots. So the whole idea of having a part-time expat lifestyle comes from the mix of these things. Like, I love being outside the country, but also I want to have a home base or an anchor city because I want to still have that family connection. So your family is here, my family is Ohio, Georgia. I want to be able to still have some kind of ties here. And so that's why I'm not fully committed to leaving America and not coming back. Like, we're calling ourselves part-time expats for that reason. So that was, yeah.
Makes sense.
And so I would say some of the things that I've learned along the way is that you don't have to be defined by a certain path. You don't have to stick to a certain path.
Facts.
If you know, I've had dreams of, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then once I attain that, I'm like, okay, that's enough. And so, you know, there could be this fear of, oh my gosh, people are going to judge me for changing my mind. But if it no longer aligns with the lifestyle I want or who I want to be, I'm going to change my mind. And you can judge me all you want. And some people don't get that. They're so afraid of the judgment of other people if they change their mind or if they don't follow a certain path. But I see it as, I have one life. This is my life. If someone doesn't like what I'm doing, then, you know, sorry for you.
Yeah. That's like that Instagram post I sent you today by Cody Sanchez. If you want to be a leader, you can't be a people pleaser. And I mean, it's impossible. Living the life that you want to live, you're going to have haters, and it won't even make sense. And this is one thing you have to think about. If the hate is always coming from people below you, you're not going to ever have any hate from somebody doing better than you. They don't have the time for that. And so keep that, put it in your pocket, and save it for later.
Yeah. Don't worry about people. Live your life, do your thing, and that's how you're gonna live a life that you don't have regrets for, and that you can be proud of. It's by living it and, you know, continuing to evolve along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And evolution means growth. It means sometimes leaving things behind. And I mean, it happens. And it's not just people, it's old habits, lifestyles, limiting beliefs. I think limiting beliefs are probably one of the number one things that keep people from achieving their version of greatness, not this mythical general greatness, i.e. there are some external markers of greatness that everybody will give a nod to, but really what you determine as greatness is what's in here and then in here.
And yeah, create your own path. I mean, sometimes I think about the fact that, you know, I had this timeline set in my early 20s, and now, 20 years later, I'm just now getting married and doing some of the things that I thought would have happened. But I truly believe that everything happens in its divine timing. You don't have to rush it. You can be late by whose standards, I don't know, but like, just trust the timing, trust the process, and
divine timing for the win.
exactly. Yes.
Oh yeah. All right, well, that's going to be it for our video today. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you tomorrow.